he joined the community of development practitioner in Fak-Fak, West Papua. And after that, he continued his master degree in University of Queensland in Australia, and he joined AGS project leader in Fak-Fak, Papua. And now he's a wealth planner and leader in Prudential Indonesia since 2020 until now. So please, Mr. Acep, the time is yours.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Mr.
Mr.
Acep.
Wow, thank you, Miss Hannah, for introducing me. It's been a great pleasure to be here tonight, meeting all of you guys. And it's been a great privilege to get an opportunity to present an idea about hepatitis. And this is really happening. But of course, I got something to share with you in detail. But let me share with the format as a PowerPoint as a virtual background, because I want to see my face directly in the screen. Okay. All right. Is it okay, everyone? The display is good, clear?
Good.
Okay, sorry, a little bit noise in my rooms because some children's just playing something. All right. Okay, everyone. This is the title of my presentations. I think this is very essential to be discussed in our speaking practice group, because this is currently happening. And I think everyone really aware, because after COVID-19, now we got a worldwide outbreak, another one, but it's quite different and it's still being investigated. So it's good for our knowledge as well, beside for English practice. Now, just a little bit disclaimer from me. This is just my personal view on my experiences and literature study. And I'm not a doctor, even specialist or healthcare provider. So really, I don't have a strong background in health or medicine or something like that. And further clarification might be required and open for feedback. So if you guys are from medical background or you are in a related one, so you may want to give me some feedbacks or comments, that's okay. I'm very open for that. Well, this is the outline that I want to bring in these presentations. At least 3 main points that I would like to highlight. The first one, we will start off by knowing the disease, and then understanding the related risk, and the last one is the suggested risk management. So hopefully you'll get many insights from each outline. And of course, if you have questions, you can ask in the Q&A session after all these presentations delivered, but I'll give some maybe just a small amount of time if necessary after each outline, so you can ask maybe one questions, but I don't think it's enough time, because around 15 to 20 minutes available for me. Okay, well, talking about hepatitis, maybe I'll start off by defining it from the general one. Hepatitis is basically inflammations of the liver. So as you know, liver is our vital organs that filter blood, that detoxifications, metabolizing nutrients, and many things. So it is a vital organ in our body. Because of inflammation, so that the liver could be affected, liver function could be affected. So one of the contributing factors of this inflammation is virus. Actually, there are many factors causing this, including alcohol, inappropriate medication program, even autoimmune. So one of my friends told me that she has autoimmune disease, but unfortunately, her liver is well, but this autoimmune really attack another part of our body. Just informations, if autoimmune happens in human body, they will attack the normal one. I mean, the normal system, the normal tissues, the normal cells. So autoimmune also can cause hepatitis, I mean, inflammations of the liver. So the common term in our community could be jaundice, penyakit kuning, or yellowing our skin or our eyes. So that's the common terms in our community. So my talking would be focused on virus caused hepatitis. So the hepatitis caused by virus. So there are identified factors in terms of type of virus. At least I think now already 5 identified virus, A, B, C, D, and E. So all these virus contagious can be transmitted from infected people to another one, of course, through the proper media such as fecal oral or from blood. The symptoms could be 2, acute and chronic. For example, for hepatitis A, mostly acute, while for B, C, D, it could be both acute and chronic, while the E could be acute. Transmissions divided into 2, oral, fecal, and blood. And all of these are vaccine preventable. So that's why if you pay attention to babies, for example, they already got scheduled to be vaccinated hepatitis starting from A to E because the vaccine is already available. But the current one is unknown hepatitis, I mean unknown virus. So the virus that caused mysterious hepatitis is still being investigated. Well, some preliminary data already available. The virus called adenovirus type 41, F type 41, but it's not really clear whether this is the main factor or this is just a contributing factor. So the main one is still being investigated. While adenovirus is actually the virus cause like symptom in the stomach, diarrhea, and also in the respiratory system. So it's not, there's no data earlier that this adenovirus attack liver. So this is very interesting fact. That's why all researchers and WHO still investigating whether adenovirus is the main cause of this mysterious hepatitis. Just a little bit information about mysterious hepatitis. As I mentioned earlier, this is contagious globally, worldwide, starting early report from Great Britain, and then now including in Indonesia, there are 3 children reported died, and then around 21 cases in total, assuming that they already infected by this kind of new disease, but still being investigated further. And in total, in the worldwide scale, there are 350 children already affected, and from 21 countries, 11 deaths, and 26 requires liver transplantation. So this is quite shocking because, as you know, as I mentioned earlier, this is unknown disease and quite acute, so it's quite fast and could be deadly as well. Now, I would like to move on to the next outlines about understanding the risks. So I divided the risk into 2, non-financial risks and financial risks. So I'll start off by explaining what is non-financial risk of this disease. They are actually, the risk is really related directly to the human body. I mean, this has a negative impact to the human body system, such as if you see here, early symptom, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and fever. This is the early symptoms. These are early symptoms of this disease. And the next one is developed symptoms, which indicated by dark urine, pale stools, yellowing of the eyes and skin or jaundice, seizure, and loss of consciousness. So doctors suggest that if we find people or our babies or our children show early symptoms, please hurry up, immediately take them to the doctors, because we don't want they develop symptoms. If they develop symptoms, they might, small probability to be cured, or at least they are quite severe damage to the liver. Even some experts mentioned require liver transplantation. So it's quite alarming for us. Now, talking about financial risks. Well, there are three main things that I would like to deliver. The first one is about hospital costs and liver transplantations. This is very, very clear that if we, let's say, a baby experiencing this disease, and of course, as a parents, we want to take them to the hospital, and this is a cost, right? Well, maybe in case of COVID-19, governments support this, and it's free to some hospitals that already collaborated with the government. But I think not really sure whether the government now issued the regulation to support all the citizens if they impacted by this disease and they're free. So this is the cost that we should be aware of. And after I study further about how much cost of this what we call treatments is about 600 million until 1.2 billion rupiah. So it's quite expensive. So this is very something that we have to be aware of, and we have to pay attention. And the second one, of course, loss of job. This could be not really appropriate for those children who experience disease. But if this happened to adult, as I mentioned earlier, in Indonesia case, around 7 cases from people above 16 years old, which means that this disease also attacks adults. So if this happened to adult, if that happening chronic, require long-term treatment, they might lose their job. If they lost their job, they might lose their income. If they lost their income, they might not have money for their family. So this is very alarming as well, and we need to pay attention to these financial risks. And the last one could be loss of the breadwinner. So if the breadwinner or the person in the family, such as a husband or wives, depend on who generate money mainly in that family. If they die, so they may lose income for family as a whole. Means the children education, their future would be negatively impacted. So this is important to understand. The risk is not only just happening in our body system, but also in the family economy, or exactly in the money. Yeah. And the second one, the last one could be a risk management. There are 4 types of risk responses to this disease. Could be accept the risk, mitigate the risk, transfer the risk, and avoid the risk. Of course, we don't want to accept the risk, right? Everyone wants to avoid the risk, if at least mitigate the risk. But there's something that people might not aware. There is a way to transfer the risk. In this context, it's about financial risk. So we cannot transfer the disease from one person to another. It's not about transmitting one, but it's about how to handle the financial risk by transferring this financial risk to a company. We call insurance company. So before that, I would like to explain how to carry out risk mitigations. Firstly, of course, it is about how to carry out clean what we call a health protocol, such as, I think we already common with that during COVID-19. So such as washing hand, don't share eating utensils, boil drink water, and avoid eating raw or undercooked foods, and avoid any direct contact with infected individuals, and ensure personal health and sanitation, and implement other required health protocols. And the last one that I would like to highlight, which is the first one in this point, carrying out an early detection. It is so important. As I mentioned, there are two stages, early symptoms and developed symptoms. It is important to stop the early symptom, and we should take the patients or our family member to the doctor before developing their further symptom, which is not really good. And this is the last one that I would like to deliver in my presentation. It's about risk transferring. As I mentioned, we have non-financial risk, and the second one, we have financial risks. And for the financial risk, we don't want that our family loss of the income. We don't want that we have to pay all the medical bill from our salary, and we don't want that our children's futures are impacted because of that we don't really aware to this risk management. So basically, risk transferring is transferring the risk, financial risk, from an individual to an insurance company. So there are two types of insurance they may want to be chosen by people. Firstly, is about health insurance. This can cover all the medical bill or medical costs in the hospital. But the second one, income protection insurance, is for those who don't want to lose their income because of they cannot go to office, they cannot carry out work, job because of they experiencing critical illness due to this disease. So this is important, and maybe lots of people just aware the first one, health insurance, but they might not aware they are risks, especially the breadwinner, because they generate money for their family. So they should be protected in terms of income. So this is the comprehensive suggestion for those who want to carry out risk management in terms of mitigating financial risk, or principally transferring the risks. So that's all the keywords that that I have delivered in this presentation could be this. So maybe during breakout room we may use this for the conversation, for our conversations. The first one is inflammation, viral infection, symptom, transplantation, contagious, sanitation, hygiene, risk management, financial risk, and health insurance. So these are the keywords that I delivered in all presentations just right now. So thank you for your attention. Hope this is insightful. Of course, I will take some questions if you have. So I'll give the time to the moderator, Kahana. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much, Mr. Acep, for your great
Thank you.
presentation. For me, I got many new words, and especially about non-financial risk. I just know that part. So yeah, I'm sure that everybody here, you guys also have 1,000 questions that running inside your mind. If you wondering something and you want to ask Mr. Acep, you can raise your hand.
Oh, I see two people raising their hand.
Wait, well, I cannot see.
Kak Dian Ferawati, Kak Torik, and
So we
Kak
have
Jovi as
Mr.
well.
Jovi, Mrs. Dian, Mr. Torik.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Hannah, Mr. Acep, wonderful presentation. And then, okay, I have used prudential insurance to cover my education, my kids' education, but not health insurance. Okay, my first question, besides we adapt like wash hand and something like that, do you think there is any kind of vitamins or medicine that we can give to our kids to prevent them from hepatitis, or what kind of vitamins that we can give? That's the first one. And the second one, as long as I know that I read your CV, then you are as a health planner, yeah. What do you think? Like me, if right now I have health insurance from my company, but after retired, what do you think? How can I plan my health insurance after I retired? Okay, that's the question for me, Mr. Rajab. Thank you.
Thank you, Kak Dian Ferawati. So, Kak Hana, may I answer or collect all questions?
Yeah, sure. You can directly answer the question.
Okay, well, just yeah, because there are two remain, so I'll quickly answer one by one. Okay, Kak Dian, thank you. That's very good questions and very good point. Yes, I think for the first questions related to the vitamin, yes, I agree that immune system should be boosted, and we have to maintain our children's immune system in the good conditions every day. And there are two things. The first thing is we make sure that all nutrients required are sufficient. I mean, we consume the nutritious food, and I agree supplements, but of course, as I'm not a medical practitioner or doctor, it's better to consult. But of course, I think for vitamin and supplements, as long as you got from trusted resources, I think that's fine. And I also followed some seminar related this, and the doctors also agree that our immune system should be maintained well. One of the way is consuming vitamin and supplement, but I cannot suggest which supplement and vitamin that your children should consume every day. But of course, I think the main key is just consuming the nutritious food, fruit, vegetables, and make sure that the children don't experience stress, because if they experiencing stress, their immune system might be distorted, which means that that's the lack, and the disease can come, and there's no kind of border anymore. So they can enter our body system very smoothly. And the second one's about the wealth planner. Yes, this is a good, it's a new expertise for me, and I love this job. So talking about a wealth planner is about a financial planning. It's about how you set the goal of your maybe if you're already married, I think this is a family goal. So we have to make sure that all financial goals are really well arranged. So if you search financial planning, the first thing that you might find out is about the financial planning pyramid. So the first one is about make sure our cash flows are well maintained and it can be run positively. I mean, your income should be bigger than your expenses. That's the basic one. And the second one is about emergency funds should be available. So you save your money and then put in your emergency fund. That's the basic thing. And the second one is about risk mitigation. So I understand that you already covered in terms of health insurance from a company and how after retirement. That's the common problem in all employee, even top management. If they don't aware since now, they might experience trouble later, because when you are getting older, your risk is getting bigger too, which means the cost of your risk is increasing. While in that time, the company, insurance company in this context, may select you from many angles. I mean, the first things about your age, because if, let's say 60 years old, or even early retirement 50 years old, the cost is very expensive. And during the way you getting older, you may experience sick, and there may be a kind of a record in the hospital, and that's the private insurance company will filter whether the sickness that you experience really significant, and they may decline your proposal letter, or they accept but with high amount of payment. So it's good to plan since now. Even you got coverage from the company, so it's better just consult which one is the better. I mean, which the proposal that better for me in terms of health insurance, whether all coverage or maybe just part coverage. So that's I cannot give a real answer now. So better to consult with financial consultant that you trusted. Yeah, I hope you get proper proposal for your health insurance planning. I hope this help, and maybe we can discuss later after this event. So I'll let other other participants to give questions, please. Okay, yeah, Kak Jovi,
Okay,
please.
thank
Oh,
you.
Katorik,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Okay, Katorik,
Oh, sorry.
please.
Because I think because I am the second for the raising hand. Okay, I want to ask about the mysterious hepatitis. What is the how the disease spread to the other? It is airborne, skin contact, or what? What is the media for the virus, or maybe the bacteria? Or it's still unknown. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you, Katorik, for your questions. Very interesting question and very fundamental question as well. Everyone, I think, really keen to know how this disease transmitted. As far as I know, according to literature that I have read, this disease still use the common hepatitis transmissions. I mean, there are two types of media. The first one through oral fecal, and the second one through blood. But mostly, experts mention that through oral fecal, which means from foods and from contaminated drink, contaminated foods. That's the good media for the virus transmitted. And also, some experts mentions we may be infected because of contacting infected people, because maybe they in their skins they got the virus. I mean, because they use their hand for everything, and then the virus now transmit to the health of people because direct contact. As far as I know, there's no transmission through air. So if I'm not mistaken, it's not airborne disease. So it could be foodborne disease. I mean, through contaminated food, through contaminated drink, and through waters. I mean, contaminated water around us. So this is the preliminary hypothesis, or preliminary what we call opinion from expert. But of course, we're still waiting for the investigation, because we still unknown whether adenovirus is the main cause or there is another virus that caused this. So we're still waiting. I hope
Okay.
this helped.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Acep.
Yeah, you're welcome. Next, Kak Jovi, please.
May I ask some question? Actually, I have 3 questions for you, but I think it's a light question for you because I want to know more about you, Mr. Acep. The
Yes.
first is, what is your story? I mean, the big story behind yourself. I mean, I know you are from IPB and Queensland University, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm never known about your major. What's your big story about it? The second question is, why do you choose this job role to contribute to Indonesia? Because I'm googling your name and I found that you are receive IAS scholarship from Australia. So I want to know more about it. And the third question is, why do you join this club? Because we have a United Kingdom graduate too in this club, but both of you are outlier in this club. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Kak Jovi, very interesting questions. Well, I'll try to answer from the first ones about my story. I mean, my education background and my work backgrounds a little bit further from the CV that display at the early presentation. Well, yes, I undertook bachelor degree from the IPB University, and the research that I conducted in my final in my undergraduate thesis is about milk, so milk processing. So it's about extracting a protein from what we call a byproduct from a silk industry. So we extracted the protein and then added to powder milk. So I learned a lot about nutrition, learn about the protein and how to maintain the product still safe. So this is about well, the major is about animal science, but I learned a lot the products from animal industry, or I mean from animal husbandry to be exact. And then I went to West Papua. I worked in different fields. I worked in community development. I help local farmers how to raise their cattle, how they organize their people themselves, and how they be more prosperous than before. So this is basically about community development rather than just about animal husbandry. So mostly I use organizational skill. I mostly use communication skill. I mostly use my critical thinking skill. So new field, and then from there I found a gap how to develop further in West Papua in terms of pasture. Pasture is a kind of what we call padang pengembalaan in Indonesia, the forage or feed for cattle, for other livestock. So I found a gap there, how to develop marginal lands in West Papua, exactly in Fak-Fak to be specific, because I found there are lots of marginal land there, which is not really suitable for any agriculture commodity except wild grass or wild for what we call small, I mean local vegetation, which is not really good as well for cattle to be to rise there. So I learned a lot in Australia because I still chose animal science field, but mostly focus on pasture field. So I learned from Australia because they have a great land, and at the same time, especially in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of the continent, there are marginal land there, which is maybe worse than in NTB or in NTT, even in Fak-Fak, West Papua, but they still can succeed in terms of raising their cattle. So I I was trying to find out what is the success formula for the Australian farmers. And I found this knowledge. Then I returned to Indonesia. My homeland is in Sukabumi, as now I am presenting. Then I just went to Papua again to apply my knowledge using, I applied alumni grant scheme. This is the grant scheme for alumni. Any alumni from Australia, as no matter, regardless the scholarship they receive, even private fee paying students, that's okay. So I applied and I got a grant, and then I became a project leader, doing things for local farmers again there. So mingle with local farmers again for 1 year. And then COVID-19 happening in March 2020. Then I was looking for a new thing, new opportunity. Then I found, okay, I found a business in Prudential. Then I applied for this, and which is still in line with my value because I have a time flexibility. I drive this job. This is not really employee thing. This is kind of business. So I still can control myself. The same thing that I experienced when I was in West Papua, because when I was there, I was the consultant. So all things were managed by myself. So to be honest, I don't want to be employee. So now joining Prudential business is very in line with my value. So I learned then about financial planning. I learned about financial literacy. So I trying to connect with my previous background. So I hope I can find what we call the collaboration between two fields for future development, especially investment in agriculture, because I learned about investment here. I learned about the financial thing. I learned about how to run a business, how to be an entrepreneur, and how to face the challenge, how to be independent, and many things, this is the criteria that an entrepreneur requires. So I learned a lot in this business and I enjoy so much. Even I still keep in touch with West Papua people because, I think there's no reason to disconnect with our previous background. So I want to combine all of this to be a great. So this is, I just think this is our plan to me. So I have to make the use of this. And well, I hope this answer your questions, Kak Jovi. And the second one, Australian scholarship. Yes, I received these scholarships in 2016, and I departed to Australia in the early 2017. I took 2 years program, master degree, and then back to Indonesia, went to West Papua. Then I received short course program again at the end of 2019, back to Australia again for around 1 month, and then back to West Papua again, and then connected to the previous story. And the last questions about my motivation to join this club. Well, I was in the same organization with Kak Dennis when I was in IPB. He was a leader in IAAS, International Association of Agriculture and Student Sciences, and that time I got good position as well, but not a leader, but just head of division. So I know Kak Dennis very well, and he always consistently informed to our IAAS alumni group. So I was thinking, so he consistently delivered this information, then there's no people, some people respond, but mostly not. So then I was thinking to come, because at the same time I have motivation how to maintain my English, because after I returned to Indonesia means that I don't use English anymore, so I have to maintain. The last one I use English in Toastmaster Club in Jakarta. So this is basically the same thing like learning organization like this, but it's quite complex. They are self-module. So probably I may give some contribution to this club from my experience in Toastmaster. So I don't know, I haven't consulted this with Kak Dennis, but of course Kak Dennis know me very well as well. So this is that's the motivation why I joined this club. And I think from my experience, 2 meetings, and now this is the 3rd one. People here is very welcoming, so I learned a lot, and I love this course as well. I hope this helped Kak Jovi.
Thank you for answering so many interesting and inspiring story from you, and thank you for inspiring me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kak Jovi. Hope you can also get your desired goals.
All right, so we have an expert here. So guys, I think this is the time for us to move to the breakout room. But before that, I will love to explain about our session. So basically, we have the first session is the presentation. After that is question and answer, and after that we move to breakout room for the first session, and then we will have the small talk after the first breakout session, and after that we will move to the second breakout session, and the last we will close the session. So let's move to the first breakout room. Maybe Mr. Jovi, could you help me?
Please go to your breakout room, everyone. Thank you.